My dad was a commercial artist by trade. He spent most of his working years working at home. He had a home studio, and his work was mostly of the commercial nature, product packaging for a lot of national brands. And he also did a lot of wildlife and still life. I think he really enjoyed creating that. He grew up in a rural community of Idaho in Burley and was around a lot of wildlife and a lot of open areas where you had beautiful sunsets and skies, and that was probably one of the things that he really painted well, was the skies and the clouds, and it was always different. That art and that love and the beauty that he saw in the things around him was, he was just born with that. So he painted up until he literally could not, sit really comfortably at a table. But he taught privately then for a lot of, the last 10, 20 years of his life, and those students came to the house literally right up to a few weeks before he passed away, just to sit there and paint with him. So it was really, and he used to say that somebody said to him, "When are you going to retire?" And he said, "Well, retire from what? I mean, what I do is my life, and it's not something you retire from." So, and he would say, "You've never painted everything. It's impossible to paint everything or draw everything. There's always something new. There's always something new." So he was needing to be up at night, and my mom was just not able to help him get to the bathroom, get back into bed. And he fell a couple times. We had the paramedics come, and it was just, she wasn't resting at night, so she was exhausted during the day. And just that risk that if he fell and broke a hip, that then we were going to be looking at hospital care or nursing care. And so we wanted to do whatever we could for him to be at home. That's what he wanted. And he knew he was ill. He knew that things were not like they used to be. Because of my profession, I was aware of, hospice being available. Never, I didn't know a lot about it, but I knew people through my church one who was a nurse that worked for a hospice, so I knew that was available. I didn't realize how much it really provided. And when my dad was, that the health was starting to fail, his doctor and through the local hospital here, St. Luke's, they recommended a couple different people and hospices to talk with. And so we decided that we would just start looking into that so it would be in place when we needed it. And I think his first evaluation, he didn't even qualify. But we were impressed with the hospice that we used. They came to the house and really spent some time getting to know all of us and what our needs were going to be and what my dad's needs were going to be. And like I said, I didn't realize all the services that would be provided. It was becoming difficult for my mom, and I know as anybody who's cared for somebody who you have to be there with them all the time, you need to be able to step outside, you need to be able to step away for an hour, you need an evening out, you need time to just regroup, because it is a 24-hour, even at night. So it was a relief, really, to see what the support and help that we could have. So, I don't recall us really talking directly to him, "Dad, this is what we're going to do. Is this okay with you?" It was more, we're going to have some people who are going to be able to help. And he would just say that's good. And that's good. If that's what you think, then that's good. So it wasn't a decision we had to really fight with him or really amongst all of us once we knew what was going to be available and how that was going to help. We were just very impressed with not only the doctors, the nurses, the social workers. I mean, we were able to meet and talk with all of them. We just felt like we were their only patients. You know, we felt that we were the most important ones, and I know that's not the case, but you certainly have to have a compassion and an empathy for, and a you know, like a deep passion to help people in those kind of circumstances. It can't be just a job for somebody, and everybody who we talked to, we felt had that same passion. It was relief, and also just relief for my mom, because my sisters and I have full-time jobs, so we weren't able to be there every day with her. So it was a comfort for us to know that when we couldn't be there, that there was she just had to pick up the phone. And all the needs, and for her too, just to be able to sit and talk with somebody about what she was going through was wonderful. So there was just a lot of relief that we knew we had made the right decision, and it was and they also, they wanted us to be able to keep him at home too. That was the vision. It wasn't just ours to keep him there in his own surroundings, but it was all the carers, you know, all the care workers, their vision as well. If we needed anybody there at a certain time, like I said, it was a phone call. There was ongoing appointments with the nurses coming, and so there was a schedule, and that was really a good thing. We knew exactly what was going to happen next. We knew who was coming. We knew if there was a concern, we could wait. If it was, you know, an emergency, we could wait. There was a predictability about what the days were going to be like. You know, for a while, we knew that things were not going to get better. You know, I think that gave us also some time to really settle with that he wasn't going to get better. This was going to be the reality right now, and that we would just do whatever we could with the help of the hospice to keep him comfortable and to keep all those needs met, whether they're medically or mentally, whatever. So, but I think just knowing that there was a schedule of what was happening, and we could sort of have some time to wrap our heads around that moment and sort of prepare for what that next part was going to be like. You know, because of his artwork, we had decided that we would set up a bed in one of the rooms that he was surrounded by his paintings, surrounded by his art, and that was a good thing for him because the surroundings were familiar, and for us as well. I mean, we could come and go, the rest of the family, where I know in a care center you're sort of limited, and we would take meals in there with him, you know, if we wanted to. And at first we could, you know, we were able to bring him out where we were, and when he became bedridden, that was a little bit different. But even just him being there in the bedroom and us being out, say, having a meal together, it was just so much easier to talk about all that was going on. Being in our home, being in my mom's home, I know how much that meant to her. And yeah, we had a lot of times that we just talked about things in the past that were, you know, those good times. Some of the time I spent with him before hospice, I was trying to have one day during the week I could come for the afternoon, and I just tried to talk with him about all those things of his past, you know, maybe things that I sometimes would think about and go, gosh, you know, I need to ask him about that. I made sure I asked about those kind of things. And so I think we all continued to try to do that and talk with him about family, school, you know, growing up, whatever it was, about his parents. He told us that he was having a lot of dreams about his dad. And so that was really an experience to be able to hear him talk about that. You know, I think we would have missed things. I think he would have missed opportunities if he'd been in a nursing home setting. I think it would have been different. So maybe 2 to 3 days, you know, ahead, when we knew things were probably going to be, you know, fairly imminent. There was fear, sure, because amongst my sisters and I, we had to decide who did we want to be there at that moment. And you don't know when that moment's going to be, who would be able to spend the night, who just didn't feel like emotionally that they could. My dad's sister was here for staying at the house then at that point as well, and then I had made the decision to be there as well for those last few nights. And so my mom and I and his sister were there with him when he passed. It was an early morning. But it was hard. Everybody in the family dealt with it a little bit differently. You know, there were those who felt they just couldn't be there, those who wanted to be there all the time. There was a lot of course, it was his art students coming and going, bringing food. There was a lot of busyness, a lot of things going on. So there was really a lot to take in. It was very hard. You know, it was very hard, but there was that support that we knew that was always there. So we didn't feel like we were in it alone. We didn't ever feel like we knew what to expect. You know, we were prepared for what things he may go through as it became more imminent. And so that took some of the fear out of it. But you're still fearful of just that loss that you know you're going to experience, and how is that going to affect us? And now we have to, oh boy, you sort of feel like the world has stopped for those few days. And you know, we all know what's going on around us, but your world stops for that little bit and become very focused in on what has happening at that moment, and you know what's coming. And so but the care team, we were prepared for that. That took a lot of the anxiety out of it, and we knew that if we thought something was changing at that moment, somebody would be there immediately. We didn't have to worry about what to do, that somebody would be there to tell us or to help us or whatever it was that we needed. And I think for every family member it's different. I think it's if you lost a spouse, whether it's a parent, all of you are going to have different needs. I know that for me, just to know that I was being checked on, I would get a phone call from the social worker, I would get, he could meet with me, I could talk to them at any time as much as was needed. And I was amazed when I found out during that process that, that can go on for as long as you need. And that first year, you are really taken care of. Nobody has said, well, book closed, next. You don't feel that way at all. And that's where I just go back to, there are certain jobs anybody can do, and I don't think that a hospice team, I don't think that's for everybody. I think you are called to do that, and I think you have a passion and a vision that other people just don't have, because you could not care for people that were total strangers in the way that they do if you didn't have that. So it was a better experience than I thought hospice would be. I did not expect the level of commitment and care that we received.